On the self-disclosure of Florida Bar Crime, you indicated you have 2 jury trials and 8 bench trials. How do you feel prepared to preside over jury trials with this limited experience?
I do. Not to say that I feel fully prepared, but I certainly feel prepared based on my experience, training, education. The role of the judge is very different than the role of the advocate, even in a jury trial. And across the board, with the exception of the endpoints over here, none of us have experience on the bench. I don't care how many jury trials you've had as an advocate, your role and what you're trying to accomplish is very, very different than what your role is as a judge. So we've all got to learn on the fly, and we're all going to go through a training experience. And I know that as a student of the law, I'm up to that challenge.
Thank you. Your next question is, if assigned to a criminal division, how would you prepare for that assignment?
Gets back to the student of the law. I went to Dartmouth College. I went to the University of Miami. I made law review. I have proven myself as an exceptional student, and that goes to the practice of law as well. I will work as hard as anyone to make sure that I am prepared before I take the bench in an area of practice that I have no experience in. And that's my commitment to everyone in this room and everyone who's voted.
Thank you. Your next question is, you are a Florida Supreme Court certified family mediator and a circuit civil mediator. What does it take to receive those qualifications, and how does that help you as a judge?
Certification as mediator requires going through a roughly 40-hour course and then participating in either co-mediating or supervised mediation of a number of cases in order to become qualified. And there are some other points that you have to achieve in order to do it. Truly, it's probably the one thing that gives me maybe a leg up on some of the other candidates here in terms of that role as a neutral. Aside from the judges, serving as a mediator means you have to learn to listen to both sides. You're not making decisions as a judge would, but you learn those elements of temperament, civility, humility, integrity, respect, patience, and hopefully you've got the intelligence to be able to do it. For managing litigants and managing a process. And so mediation definitely will help me as a trial judge.
Thank you. On to you, Ms. Hamilton. What did you most like about being a public defender, and what did you least like about being a public defender?
What I most liked was the camaraderie. I spent a couple of weeks in a small law firm down in Bradenton doing civil law before I decided that was definitely not for me. And I also was involved in an internship when I was in law school in West Virginia, and I worked in a rural part of the community in the southern part of the state, and I loved that experience. And what I really liked is that everybody was a team. It wasn't this who's going to scramble to the top fastest and who can I step on to get there. It was a collaborative effort. We all had a common purpose, and that was to work for and to ensure constitutional rights and the liberty of those who couldn't afford legal representation, the most vulnerable, mentally, substance abuse, from culturally, but just who were at a disadvantage financially and needed to make sure that our job was to make sure that they were protected.
How many adult felony jury trials have you tried to completion?
I would have to look at my form. I did fill it out on the voluntary disclosure. I cannot answer that. I know that I believe it's 19 jury trials. You have the specs there that I was involved in, most of those as first chair. Again, you have the number. I don't know if I co-counseled 4 of those. The 21, I believe, were bench trials, and a majority of those were in juvenile court. And of course, as you know, all those involve multiple counts at times, so those are just the number of actual trials.
On your self-disclosure statement, you list the dates of participation in PACTL as 2000 through 2018. How have you participated in PACTL this year?
This year, I have not been involved much at all. Actually, on and off, it's been on and off. In 2012, I believe that's the year I was on the committee to get PACTL to help get the PACTO membership up and viable again, because it had become pretty much defunct. I put out an article that I drafted and had published in the Paraclete magazine of the St. Petersburg Bar, where I was involved in the committee membership, and that was published basically when we got it up and running again. So that involved members of PACTO, and so that was my big contribution, was when this organization started to become viable again in 2012.
Okay, thank you. And those are the candidates for Group 45.